If you travel by Greyhound in Canada, then this announcement will affect you. So, I got an email from Greyhound this past Monday talking about some cuts they'll be making. So, this is how it reads. We have made the difficult decision to make substantial changes to our service in Canada effective October 31st, 2018. In Quebec, we are able to continue the routes and services we currently offer today. We are permanently canceling all Greyhound Canada services in the provinces of Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. In British Columbia, we are canceling all service as well. However, Greyhound US and Bolt Bus will continue to offer 4 daily trips each between Vancouver, BC and Seattle, Washington. In Ontario, the majority of the routes will continue to operate. Here is a list of cities where Ontario services have been cancelled, and I'll show you that list shortly, or go through that list shortly with you. We will maintain a full schedule through October, with the last trips departing from affected stations on October 31st, 2018. For customers who have purchased tickets online or via our call center, we are automatically refunding tickets for canceled trips. Customers who purchase their tickets through other channels may call us at 1-877-463-6446, and our customer care team will process a refund. Additional details are available here. This has been a difficult decision for us, but we've seen ridership drop consistently since 2010, and continuing service on the affected routes has become unsustainable. We sincerely appreciate your business over the years. It's been a pleasure serving you. And according to Greyhound, they've seen their Canadian ridership has declined by 41% since 2010. In Ontario, we will operate substantially as we do today in the southern and eastern regions of the province, with no changes in the Toronto and Ottawa areas. There will be changes in the northern part of the province. Service will be discontinued on the Trans-Canada Highway west of Sudbury. Greyhound Canada will continue to operate in southern Ontario. I don't know how clearly you're able to see this map right now. But yeah, it shows southern Ontario pretty much unaffected, according to Greyhound. So you can see that, for example, the Windsor through Montreal corridor will still have its service. So the following Ontario communities are going to lose their Greyhound service. Moth Lake, Nairn Centre, Naughton, Nipigon, Pass Lake Corner, Pearl, Port Mamanays, Wraith, Red Rock Junction, Red Rock Lake, Rossport Junction, Sault Ste. Marie, Schreiber, or Schreiber, I'm not Not sure how it's pronounced. Serpent River, Spanish, Sprague, Terrace Bay, Thessalon, Thunder Bay, Uppsala, Vermilion Bay, Wabigoon, Walford Junction, Wawa, Webwood, White Lake Bridge, White River, Whitefish, Agawa, Batchewana Bay, Blind River, Bruce Mines, Clearwater Bay, Copper Cliff, Desbarats, Denorwick, Dorion, Dryden, Echo Bay, English River, Espanola, Garden River, Goulet River, Granite Lake, Harmony Beach, Hayden, Hercot Junction, Ignis, Iron Bridge, Kakabeka Falls, Kenora, Manitouwadge Junction, Marathon, Massey, McCarroll, and Montreal River. So those following Ontario communities are going to be losing their Greyhound service. So all other routes in Ontario and Quebec will continue unchanged, including the following corridors: Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, New York, Toronto, Niagara Falls, Buffalo, New York, or I should say Toronto to Ottawa to Montreal to New York, Toronto to Niagara Falls to Buffalo to New York, Toronto to London to Windsor to Detroit, Toronto to Barrie, as well as Toronto to Guelph, Kitchener, and Cambridge, and all other Southern Ontario cities. So these, and of course, service in Quebec will be unchanged. Greyhound doesn't provide very much service within Quebec, like they don't go east of Montreal, for example. So these changes I've told you about, they're going to take effect October 31st, 2018. And it's kind of unfortunate because myself, I've been traveling extensively by Greyhound since 2010. And my travel on Greyhound has increased even more since I made the decision to get rid of my car in 2014 because my car died on me in 2014. And I figure even though I do have a valid driver's license, I could save myself a lot of money by not having a car. So like myself, I live in London, Ontario. I use Greyhound for going to the Greater Toronto area on a regular basis since I have family and friends living in the Greater Toronto area. I go to Ottawa, I go to Montreal on a regular basis as well too. And over the last 6 summers, since the summer of 2012, I've been going out to Western Canada. Like this coming summer, for example, I'm going to be doing an extensive amount of traveling through Western Canada, like through Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC. So I'll be going to places like Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Banff, Alberta. I'll be going to Vancouver as well. I'll be going to Victoria, BC, Whistler, BC, Kelowna, and Kamloops, BC as well too. So I do an extensive amount of traveling through I'll be doing an extensive amount of traveling through Western Canada this summer. And a lot of that traveling is going to be by Greyhound. So while I'm not being affected by it this summer, come next summer, I guess I'm going to be traveling differently through Western Canada. It's not going to stop me from traveling across Canada, but I'm just going to have to go about doing it differently. It's a little bit too unfortunate. I guess the thing with Canada is that in terms of geographic area, it's the second largest country in the world. But in terms of population, we only have 37 million people. So I guess it is a challenge to have cost-effective, reliable public transport across a country of such vast area with so few people living in it. It's kind of too bad that the car is king in Canada, but it seems apparent that in many people's eyes, the car is king, because to get to many of these places, you're going to need a car. Now, I know that I've read, to get between certain points, there will be other transportation. There still are other transportation services to go between certain points. For example, with me, I'm going to be taking an airplane flight from Hamilton, Ontario to Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'll be flying on this airline called Swoop, SWOOP. And Swoop is a discount division of WestJet. I'll be flying on that plane. It's about a 2.5-hour flight from Hamilton to Winnipeg. And that flight's only going to cost me $104. So I got a really good deal there. So I guess it's just going to be a matter of doing more footwork and more Googling. For example, you can put in your phone or your computer, you can Google Vancouver to Kelowna, BC, to see what transportation choices you have between those 2 points, or Google Calgary to Edmonton. I know that there are other transportation sources for getting from point A to point B, but it's just sad that Greyhound, that serves such a large portion of Canada now, will be serving a lot less of Canada come October 31st, 2018. Because Greyhound, my experiences with Greyhound have been pretty pleasant for the most part. Their customer service has been pretty good. The majority of their drivers have been quite professional. They're a very safety-oriented company. I've heard about very, very few incidents involving Greyhound buses in Canada. And in terms of cost of traveling by Greyhound is a very cost-effective method of traveling within Canada, as long as you book your tickets well in advance. I just booked myself a round trip from London, Ontario to Montreal, coming up on Labor Day weekend. London to Montreal is a distance of approximately 700 kilometers, which works out to be approximately 420 miles each way. So it's about a 7 to 8 hour drive from London to Montreal, depending on traffic. That whole round trip, two-way fare, is going to be $98 for me by Greyhound. And I'm going to be taking a trip as well from Winnipeg, Manitoba to Edmonton, Alberta. By Greyhound, that's about a 20-hour bus ride. And that 20-hour bus ride is only going to cost me $117. $117 for a 20-hour bus ride. So that gives you an idea of some of the excellent deals you can get with Greyhound. But I guess by Greyhound giving those kind of deals as well too, I guess maybe it's acted as a double-edged sword, because those kind of low deals to get more passengers on their buses unfortunately have caused them to lose money. So that's why they're going to be discontinuing much of their service in Canada. While it is going to be an inconvenience to some people, and it's going to be a financial burden to some people, because I know it's going to cost more for some people to travel by other forms of transportation. And I feel sorry for the people that will end up being left out altogether if they're living in such a small community that no one else picks up the slack for them once Greyhound leaves their community. Feel sorry for those people, but for most of us, it's not the end of the world. We're just going to have to get more creative. We're just going to have to do a bit more footwork, a bit more homework when it comes to finding another way to get from A to B. It would be nice if Greyhound does have a last-minute change of heart on this and decides not to cancel those routes after all, but at this point in time, it appears that they will be canceling those routes. I know that here in Canada, we've gotten a couple of new ultra low-cost carriers. In other words, discount airlines. We have this one airline called Flair Airlines, F-L-A-I-R, Flair Airlines. That's started, I think, last year as New Leaf Airlines, and now they call themselves Flair Airlines. And they do offer lower fares than Air Canada and WestJet does on many of the routes that they cover. And Swoop Airlines, which is a discount division of WestJet, they're offering some pretty discounted fares as well too. And there's been talk about another airline, Canada Jetlines. Canada Jetlines has been talking for about a year or two now about setting up an airline in Canada, so I'll believe it when I see it. Canada Jetlines is supposedly set to take off around the summer of 2019, but again, I'll believe it when I see it. So hopefully we have some good discount modes of transportation coming up for traveling within Canada, because this is such a beautiful, exciting country to travel across. So hopefully we can continue to travel within Canada for a very reasonable price. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Have a good day now.